Welcome everyone. My name is Jeffrey St. Laurent and this is the Selling Coaching Tuesday live show. Thrilled to be here as usual, and today's topic is using video to market. So this is a very interesting topic because in a very virtual world, which we've always been in, but with the pandemic that's happened over the last year plus, it's made it a lot more very virtual world. And I've been doing video forever. Those of you who've been following me, I've been doing video forever, and I've always been pushing video and teaching video, but now it's more important than ever, and it will remain more important than ever for a very, very long time in this very virtual world. So today we talk about using video to market and some of the pieces around that. Not only just why it's so important, we understand some of that, but how we can start getting out there as well. And I actually got a great resource for you if you're interested as well. So with that being said, I do record all these Tuesday live shows. I put them on my university at sellingcoaching.com. I help coaches transition to a full-time business, talking about the structures, setting it all up for marketing, the follow-up conversations, everything soup to nuts. So if you want to get some great resources, you could start right on the homepage of sellingcoaching.com. If you enter your name and email address, not only will you get my audio, which is how to launch your coaching business or the first 3 vital steps to launching your coaching business, that will also put you into my email community, get some great information from me on a weekly basis. And then also, like I said, check out my university. I got a lot of great programs that I offer as well. One of which is a 5-month GoPro Elite group mentor coaching program. I'm going to be starting one. Well, we're in the midst of starting one right now, but we do still have a couple openings. If any of you are interested, there's a link down below if you're watching this live or the recording of this. Just click that. It will bring you over to enter your name and email. And then if you're interested from there, you can reach out to me from there. So we do have some spots open still if you're interested in starting, and the timing is right now. With that being said, let's jump into this topic about using video to market. Now, the deal with video, here's the thing. Like I've talked about it, we're in a very virtual world, and I'm not here to try and sell you on doing videos, etc. But here's the thing, right? Even as our world transitions back into a more face-to-face place or space, right, where we can actually get out and talk to people and meet people and shake people's hands and network and things like that, like we might have done in the past. You know, that's coming. It's a lot closer than we ever, thought, which is fantastic. But even in that space, it's still a very virtual world. And the world now of Zoom and virtual communication, and there's still a lot of that stuff. And at the end of the day, people are still on their phones all the time, and they're on the internet, and that's just a fact of life. And that's how a lot of the times they're finding you and coming across you. And even if they're meeting you face to face, shaking a hand at networking or something like that, at the end of the day, there's only so much information we deliver. We can only connect with someone so much. When they get into that virtual space, when they go over to our websites, when they're come across any one of our social media platforms, no matter what platform you use, having video there is to me, it's such a vital way of them getting to know you. And let me go into the mindset behind, why video, and it's not just like, oh, they get to know you and see you, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's great. But here's, as a coach, what I've learned, I've been doing this full time since 2004. And what I've understood is that why do people hire me? Why do they really hire me? Beyond my message, they hire me because they resonate with who I am, what I'm teaching, how I'm teaching it, the value behind my message, what I value as a person, as an individual, because they get that through just you. It's you being you. Why are you here right now? If you're watching this live or watching the recording of this, why do you listen? I'm sure you don't listen to all my stuff, right? But you listen to some of my stuff, or you follow me at different intensities at different times based on what's going on in your world, in your business, right? But there's a reason why myself versus, let's say, somebody else, right? You could watch somebody else and you're like, ugh, and you just keep going on, or just there's something about that person that doesn't do it for you. Maybe it's same thing with me. You see me and you're like, screw this guy, I don't like him, right? So, but whatever it is, you you resonate or you don't resonate with, right? So, but going back to why people hire us is they start to get to know us. They start to understand us, not only as people ourselves, not only can they connect with who we are and as a human being in our lives, what we've been through, what we're going through, etc., but what we represent for them, our understanding of who they are and what they're going through, and that connection comes through our message. And that's why a lot of the time, especially with coaches, is if we don't really understand our message yet, we don't understand our niche or what exactly it is. All my students, the ones that I'm helping, the ones that I'm mentoring in my one-on-one stuff in my groups, it's like, listen, it doesn't matter if we don't understand where it's at right now. We have a strong understanding of the core message, but let's start getting it out there. And as they listen to it, they'll start to resonate with it, right? They're going to understand it as they consume it. And when you deliver it in a video format, they're really getting to know you. And that is very important for us, especially as coaches in this business where we're selling beyond our message. We're selling ourselves in a lot of ways. That's also what can make this business so challenging, is because we have a lot of, the self-imagery, the self-love or lack of all that space, the negative self-images that we might have. Oh, I can't stand looking at myself. Or, oh, I hate it how my nose or my ears or my whatever. Or I hate it when I talk. I just don't like the way I sound when I blah, 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 blah. Or my accent or my whatever, or whatever. I feel fat. I feel too this or too that, or any of those self-conscious pieces that we get into that prevent us from doing videos, but that ultimately make us human, that ultimately make us who we are, that ultimately put a stamp on our message, which ultimately makes us unique. In a world where, I work and talk with a lot of coaches over the years, especially now as a mentor coach. And at the end of the day, we all fall into I'd say like the same category of like, we want to help people lead better, more fulfilled lives, more purposeful lives, not settle for less. I mean, any specific message beyond there, we all fall into the same category. That's just the way I say it. Even if it's a business coach or something like that, it's just like, listen, even myself, I'm helping you transition to a full-time business, but I want to help you live your best life. I want to help you do what you're passionate about and get paid to do something that you love, ultimately to help other people, right? I mean, that's what this is all about. So with that being said, we all fall under that same category. And so now that we're under that category, we start to recognize, like, where's our stamp? Where's our unique space? And we have our unique stamp through our stories. But we have our unique stamp in terms of who we are and how we come across. So nurture those oddities, if you will. Nurture those pieces of you that you might think, I don't know, and you just don't like about yourself, and own them, own it. And the biggest thing is to start to practice being in this space. And I will tell you, this is not an easy space to navigate, this video marketing. And I almost, when I say the word marketing, a lot of times like that scares us as coaches, right? We don't consider ourselves marketers. You will be, and you are a marketer if you're going to be a full-time coaching business. But that scares us sometimes, the word marketing. But marketing is synonymous with communication. Am I marketing to you right now? Well, yeah, I'm marketing to you, right? But I don't feel like like, oh, I'm trying to sell you something, but I am, right? But that's not hopefully how it's coming across. My passion's coming across. My authenticity hopefully is coming across. We just be who we are, and we're communicating. All I'm doing right now is I'm communicating a message to you. I'm helping you. I'm hoping you leave here with some bit of nugget of information, whether you watch this whole thing or a small portion of it, where you can go, wow, I understand that, or that resonated with me, that helped me. That's all that I care about. But that communication, that is marketing. And the biggest challenge to us all in this medium of video is being able to be 100% authentic in ourselves and allow that to be able to come across through this little lens here that I'm just blankly staring into in this otherwise quiet office, and while I've got people on the other side of this somewhere in this virtual world. So that's not necessarily an easy thing, but it also doesn't have to be hard. It takes practice. One of my brand new mentor coaching clients, I'm working with her one-on-one, And I was talking with her, and she showed me some of the stuff that she's doing, and I looked at her website, and I'm like, wow, everything's fantastic, it's professional, and it's well put together, and it's neat, and it's organized, and it looks great. And I said, and there was a couple videos, and I'm like, but the videos, they're too well put together. They're too, they're sitting there, and they were perfectly placed, and they were, done up beautifully, and it was professionally done, and they were sitting in this beautiful scene, and they were speaking so articulately, and nothing, there were no filler words and ums and okays and pauses, but they weren't real. They shared all the right things, all the right bullet points. But I'm like, I didn't connect with you. I didn't know who you were. I didn't see any, like I said, I didn't see any flaws or any realness. I saw a well-rehearsed, put together TED Talk type thing. The reason I don't like, TED Talks are great. They're great content, but sometimes it's too well put together, and the speakers are too perfect, and it's just just speak a little fast sometimes, have an have an have a moment where you pause, have a moment where you forget about something, have a realness to this. The reason why I do these lives, I do my videos, I feel a good setup, and I could do like really great production value, but I just keep it to the threshold of like, oh, I can create a really good video, but not like go to the thing where it's professionally edited and professionally done and high level, the blah, blah, blah. It's because I want to come across as real and achievable and connectable, and like I'm Jeff, and it's like, I don't want to put crap out there, but I also want to give you who I am. And getting to that's the place, that's the space that I want you to get to, because I know that's what people will buy. People will want to connect with you. They'll want to follow you when you could just be that person. When you erase all the rules of what your video needs to be and what it needs to include and what you need to say, and you just get up there and you just start speaking rawly, 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 like raw, and that's when people will start to follow you. That's when people will start to hire you, because you're just showing up and they can connect with you. If it's everything's too well put together and it's too rigid, then it doesn't mean they can't benefit still, but there's something when you are starting to share your emotion, when you're starting to share challenges you've gone through, when you can be relaxed, when you can take a deep breath and you can just show up and be in a space and be okay with what you put out there. And I've done shows where I've hit end on my live shows like this, and I'm like, what the heck did I do? Or like, oh man, my brain was going in circles, or I didn't even know what I said. But I'm like, whatever. It was what it was, and inevitably, and maybe I wasn't the happiest with it, whatever. But I've learned not to judge what I do as much as I used to. And that's what I've had to overcome over the years. And then inevitably I'll get an email, I'll get a comment, and someone will say, oh, thank you so much. Today's show was great. I really love that. Or I loved how you talked about blah, blah, blah. And I've learned over the years to recognize that, hey, what I do need to do is I need to show up. And maybe I'm not in the greatest headspace. Maybe I'm, not looking my best. Maybe I'm feeling less than what I want to be. Maybe my brain is not working the way it needs to be, or what I'd like it to be. It's not, maybe I don't have the type of energy that I'd like to have that day. Maybe I'm tired. Maybe I'm whatever. Anything on a less than desirable space. But what I know is I show up and I do my thing. But that wasn't always so easy for me, right? I had my challenges. I had my, negative self-beliefs, and I'm like, oh my God, look at me on camera and blah, 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 all the stuff that we say to ourselves. But I worked at it, and I worked hard at it. I started coming a little bit about where I started with video, and these are some of the things that I'll give you as like tips walking away from here is came from where I went through. Is I started off videoing in the fitness industry. I started training on a national level. In order to get to that spot, I had to start doing video. I taught a lot of group fitness classes. I went around the world, different countries, especially the United States and Canada, but I would implement group fitness systems, group fitness business systems as well, training instructors and clubs on how to bring in this, but also how to teach the class. And in the fitness world, it was a lot of technique, especially strength training type classes, even some kickboxing type classes. It was all about the lines and the sharpness, and because people are following you, and they follow your movements as a trainer, as an instructor, as a leader, they're going to watch you more so than what you say. You can say, draw your shoulders back and pick your chest up, and people don't hear you. But if you do this, all of a sudden you see, the 50 people that are in front of you do this as well, right? So they follow you physically. So that physical execution was a big portion of what we did. And we had to be a physical role model. Not only we had to be in great physical shape, but we had to physically execute the movements with a certain type of precision and certain type of guidelines. And so in order to qualify, in order to, be this, we had to constantly film ourselves and assess ourselves and listen to ourselves, not only how we moved, but what we said, how we cued, how it moved with the music, how it brought people, people could follow along with our instruction, physical, visually, and auditorily. That was a big aspect of what we did. And I'll tell you, it was painful and it was hard. And I got to that spot, luckily, where I was filming for the DVDs. I got to do some film for Nike. I got to do some filming for Xbox Fitness as well. And because I learned how to present, I learned how to move well. But here's the thing. There were a lot of other people who were great physical role models, right? They were great shape like I was. But they couldn't present. They couldn't show up and be themselves. And so they might look fantastic and like, oh my God, they move so well in their body and this, and they're a physical role model, but they couldn't present, right? They couldn't just be themselves. They couldn't relax. The second the camera came on them, the lights, all the millions of lights and the heat, and 3, 2, 1 action, and they couldn't show up. Right. And it was hard for me in the beginning because you're freaking nervous, but I worked at that. And then I learned over time. And a lot of it, honestly, was the repetition of it. And then having those coaches and people that worked with me along the way, watching myself painfully so many times going like, oh my God, I can't believe, like, I need to loosen up a little bit, or seeing things that I needed to improve upon. And having some criticalness to that, right? I do that with my mentor coaching clients as I'm talking to them. It's like, yeah, great. In the beginning, anything you do is great. But now as you start to go through, that's where I can start getting, more direct feedback with some of those people, like I was mentioning earlier with my client. But that's what I had learned. So now I can come to you and I can be, hopefully you find this, right? But I can be charismatic. I can be myself. I can not take myself too seriously. I can look at the camera. I can be very self-aware of what's happening, how I am, what I'm saying, and be able to focus and deliver a message. But I've been doing it now, I'd say, for film. I've been doing my coaching business since 2004, and I've been using video since 2004, not doing live broadcasts because they didn't have live broadcasts back then. But even prior to that, back to 2003, almost 20 years, I've been doing film on different levels and working at that, right? So when you see someone on video who, they're doing stuff that you like, just recognize it's not that they just popped on the camera and all of a sudden they're doing it and they're charismatic and they're whatever. Some people are, actually. It doesn't mean it has to take 20 years. It didn't take me that long to start doing it, but it took some work. And what I'm asking for you is understanding the reasons why I gave at the beginning of this, and understanding how people can really connect. And that's how they get to know you. Like when I talk to people on the phone, it's like they know me. They say that. They're like, this is how I understand this. I'll talk to someone. They're like, oh, Jeff, I feel like I know you, or I've been watching you, or, I feel like I know you already because I've watched so much of your stuff, right? So it's like they know you on a different level. It's versus just there's a voice or there's something that they've been reading. They don't know who that person is. Someone's much less likely to buy from you and work with you having only read some of your stuff. Doesn't mean that they can't. I'm sure you've read a book or you've read books, right? Where oh my God, this author and they've changed my life. And it doesn't mean that you wouldn't hire that person as a result of that. So I'm not going to say it won't happen that way. What I am saying is that you are much more likely to get business and you're much more likely to increase the cycle or what we'll call it the sales cycle of someone from the point that they meet you and know of you to the point that they hire you, if that's the path that they're on. It's much more likely to go quicker that way when they start to really get to know you and connect with you, when they can look you in the eye, even if it's through a lens, and they can feel like you're talking to them, and they feel like you understand them and that you know them. They feel understood by you. That can happen a lot through video. And I'm not saying through audio like a podcast or written that none of that stuff can happen or it doesn't work. That's not my message today. I'm just saying even if you have some of that stuff, consider how you can begin to use this medium. And I'll say this, not everyone will or should use video. There are some people that shouldn't use video, you know, and this isn't my judgment on anybody else. What I'll say is everyone deserves to try it. Everyone deserves to give it a go, because if you can learn to present well, if you can learn to show up, then it's a great medium to be able to use. There's some people that even after repetition, they just don't show up well on video. And it's not a look or anything like that. It's just whatever, the lights go on and they freeze up. And no matter what they try, they can't access this unless they've got a teleprompter. But then if they get a teleprompter, it's too robotic and scripted. And there's just like a wall between them and the viewer. Whereas now if you're presenting well and someone who's engaging, it's just like a movie, you know, things like that. You can watch a movie, you could cry and you could be angry, you could be pissed off, or you can be like glued in the rest of the, you forget about your world. That's not only great acting, but that's the power of video. You could feel like you're immersed in that space, right? But when someone's not real, or there's a bad actor or actress, you know, or someone's too scripted or rigid, it's like there's a wall there. There's a charisma bypass, right? There's nothing you can connect with. And so I'm not saying don't try it. I'm saying give it a go and find out if this can be some of your space, because it's a great way for people to start to get to know you. And also know that there's not when I talk about certain levels of energy and charisma, et cetera, and likability factor, right? There's that it factor some people have. There's not any one formula to that, right? There's not like this, you've got to be this hyped up Tony Robbins, energetic, in your face type person. You know, there's if you've ever read or heard of Eckhart Tolle as an example, what did he write? Oh, The Power of Now was one of his books. I have books, obviously, as you see in my bookcase, but a lot of those are audio courses. I'm more of a listener than a reader. I retain better. And so there's the book by Eckhart Tolle, which the audio book is narrated by him. And if you've ever heard him speak or do that, he is like the most dry, boring, and I'm not judging him in a bad way. Like, I love the guy, but when you listen to him, it's just, there's a very monotone voice. There's no highs or lows. It is very this way. And when you listen to it, but that's him, and it fits his information. And when you listen to it, it's just so deep and powerful. It's right. So that's great, right? That's him. So otherwise, if you're just listening to it, you know, not knowing what it is or what you're listening to, you're just like, oh my God, put me to sleep, right? But when you understand the message and who he is and what it is and what it's powerful, and that's energy, that's charisma, that's him. And so I'm contrasting that with like a Tony Robbins, who's raw and loud and strong and in your face and just a different level of energy. So there's no right or wrong of what it needs to be. It needs to be you. And people can feel, you know, energy is what people feel. And so people can feel that through video. And so these are all the things that I want you to start to think about. But give yourself some time. Give yourself a space. When I help my mentor coaching clients, some of the things I always tell them is you know, let go of some of the rules of what you think it needs to be, what you think you need to look like, the quality of the video, the setting and the microphone and all the technical pieces. And like, just take your phone and hit live and go live and start to talk a little bit. And you know what? And start to improve a little bit. And every time you do it, just watch it a little bit, take some notes and think of one thing you're going to get better at, you know, and then, you know, maybe a technical thing like, geez, you know what? I did the video and it's all dark and so you can't really see me. Okay, great. So now I get a better lighting, you know, in front of me. And okay, so great. Now I've got a little bit better lighting. Did I have to go to Amazon and buy a 3-point lighting kit and spend $100? No, I took the shade off my lamp and put it in front of me. And maybe that does it for now. So, you know, don't go overboard with, oh, I've got to order all this stuff. And some people put too much time into some of the technical pieces And I mean, like I said, you can have the most well-lit stage, the best internet connection, the best cameras, and you can suck, and it doesn't matter, right? So the point is like just conversely, you can have the worst camera and the worst microphone, and have it, just audible enough and just visible enough, but have the most authentic, caring, passionate person who just delivers a strong message, and all that stuff doesn't really matter, right? All the technical pieces. So don't spend the time and the money and the energy on that yet. Work on yourself. Work on getting out there and being real and getting to that space. And then each time you do it, you get a little bit better. And then, I'm going to get a little bit better camera. I'm going to get a little bit better lighting. Or, my microphone, it's really tinny. And, and the great part is now that nowadays that stuff doesn't cost very much. And it's very easy to get a good setup, for, $100 or something like that, a couple $100, you can get everything you really need, great camera, great microphone, great lighting, it's very easy to do. But with that being said, start and draw back a little bit, and take it step by step. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. If you are looking to get into video, I do have a great guide for you. It's a course that I built. It's called my Video Creation University. If that's something that you're interested in, just shoot me an email, jeff@sellingcoaching.com. You can go through my website, sellingcoaching.com, right through the contact page and say, hey, Jeff, talk to me about Video Creation University. It's $39, so it's dirt cheap, but it's very, very comprehensive. And I go over not only how to present, give you very specific strategies on what you can actually do to set yourself up technically, but also how to present really well. I go over all of my lighting, all my equipment, so that when you're ready for that stuff, you know exactly what you can get as well, and different strategies on how you can start to prepare and bring yourself to the table so you can present more. So again, if you're interested in getting that, my university, my Video Creation University, just shoot me an email through my website, sellingcoaching.com, on the contact page. I'll follow up with you